Hi everyone, it's Neenah. Thanks for joining me today. I have some inspiration to share with you using some of the newest CZ Designs release products from Simon Says Stamp, as well as a few other Simon Says Stamp products. Now I wanted to show you how I made the distress ink background you see on this card, and I want to show you how it progressed from something that I was actually going to be doing completely different than the end result you saw on my card. I ended up making a bunch of mistakes and having to almost in a sense redo the card, but I didn't want to redo it because I wanted to be able to salvage the project that I was already working on. I started off by taking some Bristol Smooth cardstock and my distress inks, and I was ink blending onto this background panel. This is just a piece of, like I said, that Bristol cardstock. I'm using Spun Sugar, Festive Berries, and Seedless Preserves inks. I really loved this color combination. I thought it would make a really beautiful, very different type of winter background. I wanted to kind of go with those pinks and reds and purples and kind of make it a little bit holiday-ish, but also a little bit wintry. I was just kind of playing around with the colors, and I really like this combination. So I'm blending the colors and just really creating a variegated background. I wanted to have different colors blended in different areas and just get a really beautiful color into this background panel. Once I had all of these colors blended, I'll end up with this panel that has this beautiful combination of these colors. And my idea was to take a stencil, and these are some of the new snowflake stencils from Simon's Making Spirits Bright release. And I wanted to spray them with water and lay them into my ink blended background to create ghosted images. And the effect looked amazing. This is a great technique to do if you want to create some really fun, subtle effects in the background of your panel. By just taking that water, spritzing the stencil, and then laying that on top, as it dries, it's lifting up that color, just like you would if you added water spots. Now, this is where I totally screwed up and added water spots. I actually would have liked the water spots on here, but I added way too many, and it totally ruined the effect of the snowflakes ghosted into that background. You lost those snowflakes completely. You'll see here as I lift up this rag, I just lost the definition of those snowflakes. And yeah, it does look cool, but I wanted more definition than that. If you believe it, I actually redid that entire thing and again tried to add a little bit more splatters, but again, I went way too heavy with it. And I almost gave up at that point, but then I decided I was going to try something else. So I went a completely different route, went back over that again with more ink blending, and this time I added my stencil into a pool of that Seedless Preserves ink, basically turning it into a stamp in a sense. But I wanted something a little bit more artistic. So I really saturated this with light ink, laid it into my panel. You can kind of see those ghosted images back there. And then I lifted it off. And I loved this result. This looks so cool. It's a very, like I said, distressed, artsy kind of feel with those snowflakes. And so I layered those in different areas across this card, creating a background with those snowflakes. And I really like the end result. I'm glad that I went ahead and redid this, or kind of salvaged it, I should say, so that I could continue using this panel because this ended up working out really well. So after that dried, I took some Bombay inks. These are the P.H. Martin Bombay inks. I'm using the white simply because it's a little bit more on the opaque side. You can use acrylic paint or any other type of opaque white medium. I'm basically using this to create splatters with a white tone. But I'm also going to put in some shimmer by using the Prima Marketing Metallic Accents watercolor palette. These are basically metallics that mix in with your watercolors to create a metallic sheen. Now I also did that same thing with the ultraviolet, except I used ultraviolet simply by itself. And when it dried, it creates this beautiful iridescent blue tint. And you can see that here shining through as I tilt this in the light. So my background panel is finished after I added those splatters. And I'm going to go ahead and take this die set, which is the all caps #1 die set, and I'm going to cut it from some purple and white cardstock, but also some DCWV glitter paper. Now originally I cut it out from the purple glitter paper, but I decided that it was too much glitter, so I took the glitter letters and just set those aside. I'll use them on another card. So I used just some plain cardstock letters for the words "Let It," and then for the snow I have that covered with a layer of glitter paper. So there's 4 layers of cardstock on each of these letters, and then the glitter ones have 4 layers of cardstock plus the glitter paper. I also used that glitter paper and die cut a bunch of snowflakes from the Snow Flurries die set from Simon Says Stamp, and I'm going to glue these down onto my card. I'm just putting glue in little areas. Because these are so tiny, I'm just putting dots of glue, and that's going to hold them down really nicely. So they're going to make sure that they're fully adhered. I also added this final snowflake onto a stack of snowflakes. So I basically cut that snowflake a bunch of times. I think I used about 4 or 5 pieces. So that creates a really thick die cut, and I'm going to trim the edges so that way it fits between those letters. That's going to allow me to have a snowflake that's the exact same height as my stack of letters here. I'll be able to glue that down and then add liquid glue over top of that and put a glitter snowflake on top of that stack of snowflakes. And that creates a dimensional embellishment for the in between my letters here that say "Let It Snow," ties in that whole sentiment and the snowflakes together really nicely. So I hope this video has inspired you to do not only some distress ink techniques. You can try that ghost imaging technique that I had done in the beginning of the video, which I messed up on, or you can try doing the artsy technique that I ended up turning this background panel into by taking your stencils or other types of stamps and use them distress inks, spritz it with water, and you can get a really cool artistic effect. So I hope that this has inspired you to try one of those techniques and also use the new CZ Designs at Simon Says Stamp all caps #1 die set. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed, here are 2 more that you might like featuring some fun techniques using distress inks. I will see you again very soon with another video, and until then, thanks for watching.